Let's explore with Animal Prime.
He doesn't bark. He doesn't chase. He simply stands. His muscles are coiled, not tense. His gaze locked not in fear, but in calculation. This is a Kangal, and tonight, on the edge of a high Anatolian pasture, he is alone, but he's not afraid. He's exactly where he's supposed to be. Behind him, the flock quiet, vulnerable. Before him, the ridge where 6 wolves emerge, shadows moving as one. Some dogs play, some perform. This one protects, not for food, not for pride, but because somewhere in his blood, centuries of guardianship still burn. They call him the strongest guardian dog in the world. But you're about to see why no title will ever capture what he does next, his stead. Welcome to Look What Happened When These Wolves Attacked a Kangal. A story not about violence, but about duty, instinct, and the silent line between predator and protector. Stick around, because by the end of this journey, you won't just understand how the Kangal stops wolves. You'll understand why they rarely try again. His stead. So what makes him different? Size? Yes. He stands nearly 32 inches at the shoulder, weighing over 140 pounds. But it's how he moves like a coiled spring. Like a mountain that can launch. His bite, measured at 743 pounds per square inches. That's stronger than a lion's. But that's not the secret. The real power of the Kangal is this. He doesn't need to strike first. Wolves know it. That's why they hesitate. Again and again in rural Turkey, farmers report the same pattern. Wolves circle. The Kangal watches. No growl. No snarl. Just presence. And sometimes, that's enough. His present dated for mate. Thank you for watching this not present event, but not always. One wolf breaks formation, lunges fast. The Kangal doesn't flinch. He sidesteps, pivots, launches. In one move, the entire rhythm shifts. The pack that once advanced now stumbles. Their leader rolls back, and the Kangal is already in motion, again chest low, teeth bared, not to kill, but to control. That's the word we forget in the wild. Control. Wolves bring chaos. Kangals bring calm. And in between them stands that split second, where instinct meets decision. And the Kangal always chooses the same way, toward danger. His present dated for man. Well, his no if potted. This isn't a one-time story. This is what they do every night. Across villages where the wild still tests the fence line. One dog, a flock, and whatever dares to cross the boundary. Some nights, the wolves test and retreat. Other nights, they test and fall. But in all cases, they leave with one lesson burned deep. This dog is not prey. This dog is not afraid. This dog is the reason the flock is still standing. His Perry eyes. Thanks for watching. Head 4 still. Water's in. So when people ask, what happened when these wolves attacked a Kangal? The real answer is simple. They met something older than fear, and this is only the beginning. Because the night won't stay still for long, and not all predators are wolves. Next, a shadow heavier than the pack. More weight, more force, and far less hesitation. A bear. You're not going to want to miss this. Some stories you expect. Wolves? Sure. They've circled flocks for millennia. It's the oldest battle in the book, predator versus protector. But bears? That's not just a different chapter. That's a different book. And yet, in the remote valleys and mountain slopes of eastern Anatolia, this unlikely confrontation isn't folklore, it's real. And if you ask the shepherds who've witnessed it, they'll tell you. Only one dog dares to meet a bear head-on, the Kangal. Let's start with the odds. An adult brown bear can weigh anywhere between 600 to 1,000 pounds, easily outweighing a Kangal by 5 or 6 times. Its claws can tear bark from trees. Its bite force? Over 1,000 pounds per square inch is strong enough to crush bone. And yet, when a bear lumbers too close to a flock, it isn't met with fear. It's met with fury. There's a recorded incident, now widely shared among shepherding communities, where a bear wanders into a highland pasture just after dusk. The sheep begin to panic, but the Kangal doesn't bark. It doesn't chase. Not yet. It waits. The bear, oblivious, continues its slow, thundering approach until it steps into range. Then the stillness breaks. The Kangal launches not for the face, but the flank. Fast, precise. Not trying to kill, just trying to warn. And it works. The bear, startled by the sheer velocity of the attack, spins, rises on its hind legs, but the Kangal is already moving, circling, barking, creating a zone of chaos the bear hadn't expected. Eventually, the bear retreats, not because it couldn't win, but because it realized there are easier meals elsewhere. This moment isn't just rare, it's revealing. Most domestic dogs freeze when confronted by something that massive. Even bold ones back down when size becomes overwhelming. But the Kangal's genetics are different. They don't chase for play. They confront for survival. And sometimes, they don't do it alone. In a handful of documented cases, multiple Kangals are seen working in coordinated bursts, one drawing attention, the other flanking. Think wolves are the only species that use strategy? Think again. Kangals may work alone, but they excel in pairs. It's not training, it's instinct. You can't teach courage, but you can inherit it. Still, not all dangers come from the wild. Some are unleashed from within civilization itself, like the Pitbull. Now let's be clear. Pitbulls are often misunderstood, misrepresented, and mislabeled. Not every Pitbull is aggressive. Not every confrontation is fair. But when a trained, agitated Pitbull attacks, it becomes a storm of muscle and momentum. And sometimes, these confrontations happen where humans are caught in the middle. One such event caught on security footage shows a man walking past a gate. From the side, a Pitbull breaks loose, charges, jaws wide. The man stumbles, falls, and for a moment, everything slows down. Then, out of frame, a blur. The Kangal arrives. No hesitation, no pause. It slams into the Pitbull with the full force of a freight train. The impact alone sends both tumbling. And then, the Kangal stands between the man and the threat. That's what they do. They don't wait to be called. They calculate faster than instinct. The confrontation is loud, primal, short. And while no fatal injuries occur, the message is clear: not on my watch. What makes these confrontations so captivating is not the violence, it's the meaning behind it. The Kangal isn't bred to win fights, it's bred to prevent them, to hold the line, to give pause to chaos. It doesn't seek conflict, it absorbs it for the sake of what it protects. You'll hear people call the Kangal the strongest dog in the world. And maybe that's true statistically, physically, biologically. But here's the truth that matters more. The Kangal is the dog that doesn't flinch against wolves, against bears, even against other dogs. And in that refusal to back down lies a deeper strength, the kind we recognize in heroes, not animals. It's the strength of responsibility. So what happens when these wolves and now bears and other challengers attack a Kangal? The better question is, what happens when a Kangal decides to stand its ground? That's when the wild blinks first. But our journey isn't quite over, because there's one more challenger on the horizon, a predator born of chaos, opportunistic, unrelenting, and cunning in ways the wild never taught, the hyena. And once again, the Kangal stands alone. In the wild, not all threats come with stealth. Some come loud, disorganized, opportunistic, and dangerous in a different way. This time, it wasn't a wolf creeping in at dusk, or a bear lumbering from the ridge. It was a hyena, built low, jaws wider than they seem, and eyes that dart with mischief and menace. Unlike wolves, hyenas don't always move as a unit, and unlike bears, they don't test boundaries cautiously. They burst through them messy, fast, loud. And for livestock, that chaos is often all it takes. But on this particular day, on a small farm bordering open scrubland, the hyena wasn't just met with fences. It was met with a Kangal. What followed wasn't a clash of titans, it was a lesson in discipline versus disruption. As the hyena rushed toward the goats, it didn't slow, it didn't hesitate. That's how they hunt, by forcing panic. But Kangals don't panic. The dog waited, still, eyes locked. The moment the hyena crossed the invisible line between pasture and wild, the Kangal moved. One step, two, then a sprint. It hit the hyena side on, not to kill, but to knock it off course, and it worked. The predator stumbled, regrouped, tried again, but the Kangal was already circling, already predicting, already controlling the chaos. To understand why this moment matters, you have to know what makes a hyena dangerous. It's not just their bite though. With a PSI of over 1,100, it's nothing to dismiss. It's not just their speed though. They can run at over 35 miles per hour. It's the way they think. Hyenas are cunning, adaptive. They don't give up quickly. In some African villages, it takes 3 or 4 dogs to keep one hyena at bay. But not here. The Kangal alone was enough. After a brief flurry of lunges and counter moves, the hyena made its decision. It backed off, eyes still locked, jaw twitching, but it turned, and it ran. In that moment, it became clear. The Kangal doesn't just fight harder, it fights smarter, because being a guardian dog isn't about aggression. It's about control, timing, knowing when to stand, when to strike, and when to let the enemy walk away. It's not dominance for the sake of power. It's protection for the sake of peace. So what have we really seen across these 3 encounters? Not just strength, not just courage, but a kind of loyalty that transcends species. Against wolves, the Kangal held its ground. Against bears, it didn't flinch. Against hyenas, it outmaneuvered chaos itself. And in each case, it didn't fight because it wanted to. It fought because it had to, because someone had to protect the vulnerable, because something had to stand between the wild and the innocent. That something was a dog. The Kangal is more than a breed. It's a legacy, handed down through the mountains and plains of Anatolia, from shepherd to shepherd, generation after generation. Its purpose hasn't changed, its instincts haven't faded, and in a world where borders between wild and human blur more each day, the Kangal still knows where the line is drawn, and it still guards it. So now, we ask again, what happens when a wolf attacks a Kangal? The answer is simple. They retreat, because they've met something older than fear. They've met a creature not raised by man, but raised by responsibility. If you've made it this far, you now understand why the Kangal is considered the strongest guardian dog in the world. Not just in bite force, not just in battles, but in purpose. And if that moved you even a little, if it made you see animals not just as creatures, but as characters with courage, then you're exactly the kind of person this channel was made for. So tell us, which moment impressed you the most? Was it the standoff with the wolves, the charge against the bear, or the control over the hyena? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if you love stories like this, true, raw, and wild, subscribe for more. Because out there, in the silent places between civilization and wilderness, the Kangal still walks, still watches, and still waits until the next threat comes.